Hey everyone, this is your feedback, not really feedback, more just like discussion video on Chaos in the Brickyard. I just watched all of them. Well, most of all of them. There are parts that I skipped around in, but I watched, there was a little couple parts in the middle that I kind of skipped through. Um, but I watched most of your videos. Everyone was like 25 minutes. Apparently, one group went for 40 minutes, but they did an awesome job of editing it down to 25 minutes. So, congrats, Tara, on your group's ability to edit a really long conversation and make it seem seamless for the most part. So anyway, back to Chaos in the Brickyard. So the whole analogy, the whole paper was about science and research and articles and all of these things, right? And the question was, who are the builders, right? That was the first question. And the builders are scientists. And everyone pretty much got that. Everyone pretty much got the idea that builders were scientists. What wasn't talked about so much in many of the videos, some groups talked about it, but not every group talked about it. So I wanted to make sure I hit on this, is that somewhere along the line, probably early 1900s, scientists or builders decided they needed help. And so then there was a new profession, there was a new thing called brickmakers, right? People who do articles, who do research, right? And these brickmakers were people who were pumping out research articles, doing research, putting them into research articles, etc. But what was happening is there was a disconnect between the builders and the brickmakers. And the brickmakers were looking for ways just to get it done, and they were not building quality bricks. And they were building bricks just as they were built as they were supposed to, supervised by their builders. But pressures of the university, pressures of society, created this pressure of more. And so we increased the quantity of bricks, but we didn't increase the quality. And what happened was the builders, the scientists, who at one point in the history of science were also the brick makers. So the people who were the builders were also the brick makers. Brick makers didn't exist. So people would build their own stones, their own bricks, and then build an edifice back in the day. But then the pressure to have more bricks and to produce more research, more bricks, if you will, that allowed the builders to hire junior scientists or graduate students to do research for them. But graduate students and junior scientists weren't worried about building an edifice. They were worried about getting this brick done. And at first, they had close supervision. The builders would watch every step of the brick maker. So the senior scientist, the advisor, would watch every step of the brick maker make a brick and make sure it was quality. Okay. Then, as more and more advisors, as more and more junior scientists came to college, they needed to graduate, they needed to pass their thesis, their dissertation, whatever. Quality of the brick, quality of the science started to decrease. And it more became about, I just need to get the number of bricks out to be more. I don't care about the quality. As long as it's done, a done dissertation is a good dissertation. A done thesis is a good thesis. A done project is a good project. And so a done brick is a good brick, right? Regardless if it was not made with the right amount of sand or the right amount of water or the right amount of binder or whatever, which causes it to crumble when you try to put it in an edifice. And so what happened was not athletic trainers, but scientist builders went to take all these bricks that their brick makers had made, and they tried to build an edifice. But what they realized is they didn't have the right bricks. They needed a brick that could fit, that could be a keystone, but they didn't have a keystone brick. They just had a bunch of square bricks, and you can build stacks of stuff, but those stacks aren't edifices. They're not something that can stick withstand the test of time. And that's a really quick rundown of what this is. Now I'm going to relate it back to athletic training. Okay? In athletic training, I would say we have very few builders, actual builders in athletic training. We have a ton of brick makers. We have people who are moving towards building, but the thing about a builder is a person or a group of people who build an edifice. And this goes back to athletic training. I don't know if we have an edifice in athletic training. I don't know if we have very many edifices at all. I can't name one that this is what it is. Maybe concussion, maybe ACL stuff. But we just haven't gotten there yet. And we don't do systematic research that allows us to really build a great edifice, which gets back to the brickmakers. But these edifices are actually like unifying theories, why things happen, why things work, why people behave a certain way. The law of gravity, that's an edifice. The theory of relativity, that's an edifice. Those things are fundamental to the practice and the science of physics. What are the things that are fundamental to the practice of athletic training? And are they actually evidence-based, or did we just mimic someone? Right? If I said, who created the standard evaluation for athletic training? What would you say? You probably couldn't come up with a name. I don't know if you could come up with anyone for a name of advancing the practice of athletic training. When we look at the profession of athletic training and research, a few names stand out as builders. Ken Knight, Mark Merrick stands out as a builder. He's transitioned away from building, though. He's transitioned into something else, a different role, which isn't so much research. I think of people like Kevin Guskowitz, maybe Doug Casa. Those people are taking other people's research and they're building a grand theory of why things work or why things don't work and how we need to change our practice in athletic training. But by and large, athletic training researchers from across the country aren't really builders. And I'll say I'm not a builder. I'm an aspiring builder, right? I'm to this point where there isn't enough information, so I'm having to build my own bricks, right? So I'm way back to the way it was back in the day, where the builder was also the brick maker. I think Dr. E is in that same boat, where what she wants to study, there's not a lot of research out there. So what's happening is we're the brick maker as well as the builder. And that takes a lot of time. But where you all come in, you all are brick makers. That's what you're there for. That's what you're here for. I don't know how many of you want to go be a researcher. Like that's what you want your primary job title. If that's what it is, I'm assuming that you're going to go earn your PhD after you earn your DAT, because the paths for building bricks or for being a builder typically fall in the PhD route. So you're a brick maker, okay? And the whole reason I shared this article with you is because I want you to understand how critical your role as a brick maker is in this process. There is going to be a temptation throughout this program to get the project done, to get your projects done. A done project is a good project. That temptation is going to be there every single day when you do your project. You're like, I can just stop now. I don't need to read this extra article. This is good enough. All of those things are going to be a temptation right in front of your face every single day as you work on your project, as you move forward from this moment on. But if you do that, you are doing builders in the future. You're doing the profession of athletic training a disservice, because you have, and you're doing more importantly, you're doing yourself a disservice. You're investing 2 years of your life for crap. And I don't think anyone here wants to do that. I don't think anyone has the intention of, I'm going to build a crap brick. I'm going to do a crap research article so it can never be used again. So it'll never see the light of day. So no one can actually ever use this, right? Like I don't think that's anyone's intention. But more often than not, that's the end result. And it's because we continue to make small choices that says, I just want to get this done, versus the quality matters. So in this whole system, particularly of research, I'm talking about traditional research. I'm not talking about practice-based research. That didn't even exist back when this article was originally published. And we can talk about how that changes and shifts and stuff, but that would be like a 40-minute talk and I'd be all over the place. I'm kind of all over the place right now. But in the scheme of traditional research, you are a brick maker. That's what you are. In your projects, you're not going to be a builder, because building takes a career. Building takes a deep understanding, an intimate understanding of the whole process. And I mean to a level that you haven't experienced yet. And that's okay, because we're not trying to develop builders of research in athletic training through the DAT. That's just not what we're trying to do. But we are trying to build competent and skilled brick makers. We want to build the best brick makers so that your bricks and the collective bricks that we all create together can actually be used instead of just thrown into a random pile and never used again, or show up on a search that you do for my evidence-based practice class where you got 300 articles and you can only use 7 of them. You don't want to be those 293 articles that never get used. You want to be in those 7 articles that are used, the good, high-quality studies. And the difference between a high-quality research project and a low-quality research project is how you approach the process. And again, it's a mindset shift. I know I talk about mindset all the time in the class, in the program, but you can literally make your thoughts become your reality. And it's your mindset. So you have to have the mindset of your project, that this is going to be a quality brick. I understand that I'm only doing a very small piece. I'm doing a small brick in a huge edifice that I hope someone will be able to use next time, in 5 years, 10 years, 50 years. But the only way they'll be able to use it is if your brick is sound structurally and functionally. And I want to say that all of our students do that. I want to say that all of our students leave this presentation. I'm sorry, I got my cell phone going off. I want to say all of our students leave this class and they're like, or this moment, they're like, I'm going to build the best damn brick ever. Some of them do, but if I'm going to be 100% honest, most of our students fall into the trap of not solidifying their mindset that this needs to be quality. Rather, I just need to get it done. And so my challenge to you, and this is the first time I've done this because I've noticed it over the past 3 years, 2 years, however long we've been, 3 years. We've been doing this 3 years. I've noticed this happen, right? And so this time I'm going to challenge you with something different. I want to challenge you to create a quality project, not a project that's going to get done. And not only to create a quality project, but to follow through on a quality project. Because, and I want each of you in this community of learners to hold yourself accountable. I want you to hold yourself accountable so when the inevitable moment comes where you're faced with a choice, I can cut corners or do what's right. I can stop or I can keep going. I can, just give up or I can keep trying. When that moment comes, whatever that is, when you can compromise, I want to challenge each of you not to compromise, and I want you to use each other as a support network so you don't compromise. Because when you do, you're not helping the profession, and most importantly, you're disrespecting yourself. And that is something that I don't think people understand until after the program. And if you go back to watch what Kelly Brock, a great student, great athletic trainer, if you go back to ATTR 712 and you watch her introduction video where she's giving you advice, one thing she says, I have a regret, and that regret is not taking advantage of opportunities that were presented for me. And that was at the end of her program. And she looked back at the time of her program and she understood that she didn't take full advantage. And she's pleading with you to take full advantage of the opportunities you're given. Don't waste them. And what I'm asking you to do now, even though you may not have a positive view of research, or you may think, oh God, I didn't come here to do research. What we're doing is presenting you the option to create the best damn brick that's been created in your topic area for athletic training. It may not be the best damn brick ever, and that's okay, but it's going to be the best damn brick in your topic area for the profession of athletic training. So in 1, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, a builder can look back. Maybe it's going to be Dr. Everman. Maybe it will be me. Maybe it will be Dr. Powden. Maybe it will be one of you who decides that you love research and you want to be a builder. You can look back and use that brick to make a meaningful difference for the profession of athletic training and for a patient that someone in athletic training will treat. So I hope that this wasn't too rambly. and I hope that it wasn't too far out there, and I hope that the message doesn't get lost in the analogy. I hope that you understand that by engaging in research, you are becoming part of something greater than yourself, something that extends back 4,000 years, 5,000 years, something that's innately human, right? This human process of inquiry and discovery and answering questions that have been unanswered and refining questions that have already been answered and deepening our understanding. And I think it's really important that you understand that you are not alone and that you're not starting this all by yourself. You are joining a 3,000 year history of inquiry. And it's something that although we have billions of people who have lived and billions of people who live on this earth now, only a small, very small percentage of humans ever engage in this experience. So be grateful for that and choose to look at this as an opportunity. And when the voice tells you to take it for granted, to look for a shortcut, to compromise, don't. If you've got questions about this, let me know. I'd love to talk to you about this more. I'd love to answer your specific questions about chaos in the Brickyard. If not, you have a great day, and I will see you all next week in our Monday morning videos.